Yeah, ain't no L's, I gotta get a no call to quit. Yeah, gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets. Yeah, better move out the way cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. My heart on my sleeve, stress, shield my greed. That's how I get it. Success ain't no given. Some days I don't hit, I don't sleep. When I'm focused, I'm dangerous. They don't wonder when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank. I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze. The roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag. I know that's because I've been in it. I don't need to brag. I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business. But some family, you do the math. I'm out of my pocket. Houston, we got a problem. I ain't perfect. Let them watch me elevating. Got them nauseous cause I'm the pilot in the cockpit. Nose diving in the option. Woo! Watch out, get ahead. Watch out, get ahead. Watch out, get ahead.
It's time! Welcome to DFS by the Numbers with your host, Brady.
Better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers and welcome to Best Bet for UFC 296. We got Leon Edwards going against Colby Covington. We have a 12-fight card, a card that has taken some hits. We lost the Gary Luque fight, which was a good one. We lost the Randy Brown Muslim Salikov fight, which I was also looking forward to. But still, really good card nonetheless, a card that's going to end the year. And really looking forward to this show as well. So we have this Best Bet show with a couple panel members. And then tomorrow we're going to have another Best Bet show. Want to kind of split the guys up so I didn't have like a 7 or 8-man panel there. So tonight we have a really stacked panel. Really looking forward to this show. We got Uncle Weezy, Narco Cop, and Johnny. We'll start with you, Weezy. Weezy, last stream of 2023.
I know, man. It's bittersweet because it's been an up year for me, but definitely not nearly as much up as I wanted to be. So it's a little bit frustrating when you didn't quite achieve your goals at the end of the year. But up years are good years. It's a tough business, you know, to come out plus money at the end of a year here. And I'm looking to finish strong, though. Definitely have picked up some things lately and had a couple decent weeks. So looking to finish with a bang here. And this is just a phenomenal card. And there's a lot of spots that I like that are sticking out. So I'm looking forward to chopping it up with all of you guys here for the last card of the year before we get a much needed break. All of us content creators.
Yeah, but it's definitely a lot of work. We got Narco in the building showing his Christmas spirit. I love it. Narco, what is up? You looking forward to the last card of the year?
What's up, Brady? And congrats, by the way. Just looking forward to this last card. Nice little card here. We lost a couple of fights, like you said, but still some spots here. The one thing I will say is I know a lot of people like trying to like get to a certain mark on the year, or, you know, I would say don't push bets here. Like if you're not comfortable with it, like just to get to a milestone or whatever, like it just doesn't make sense. But I've heard a lot of people like, oh, I need to get to 100 units or I need to get to 50 units. Like you're going to be playing spots that you normally wouldn't play. So, I mean, that's it. It's a great card, but it's going to be sad. We're going to be off for 3 weeks. So it is what it is.
I know, like whenever we have 1 week off, I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm not sure what to do right now. So yeah, 3 weeks, it's always rough. And then last but not least, we got Johnny K in the building. Johnny, it's been a while. How have you been? And are you looking forward to the last card of the year?
Yeah, doing good. Thanks for having me on the show again. Pleasure being with both of you gentlemen, Weezy and Narco. Last card of the year. It's a good one too. And it does suck that Brown fight got canceled and Ian Gary. But hey, we still got a great card, great fights. The main card looks great. I don't have a milestone personally that I'm going for. I just want to win before we have this big break because I don't like to end on a losing note and then have to wait 4 weeks to get it back. So I'm hoping to get some here, and I'm going to try to go for some home runs today because I know I'm down. So if you see some crazy bets, like I'm just going for it. So.
Yeah, my milestone each year is to have a winning year, and should be able to do that as long as I don't like really F up this week, but should be fine. Before we get started, if you guys could please do a favor, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Go subscribe to these guys. You got Uncle Weezy, does great work each and every week, does Dusted Chip on Tuesday. Narco Cop's going live in less than 2 hours at this point for Lambo Plays, and you got Johnny pumping out early content as well. All three of these guys do amazing work. Go subscribe to them. if you are not already. And down in the description below, you will find the contest rules. I mean, it's the last show. We've done 43 of them. Hopefully, you guys know the rules by now. But if you're new, they're down there. And then as well with the standings as well. We'll shout out the chat, and then we'll get right into it, guys. We got MMA Goulash, first one in the building. Shoot Proof. We got Flo. We got Kiwi Brew. We got Nick, Mr. Glista, Yes Freak. We got John. We got Monk in the building. What is up? We got There Will Be Blood. I like it, Nick. We got Lucid. What is up, everybody? Smash the like button. Do appreciate that a ton. And we're going to get right into it as always. So we have 12 fights on the card. So Weezy and Johnny will be getting 2 passes, but Narco, since he's only 8 cards in, is going to have a total of 20 bets on the show, which in theory, it could be an advantage. It could be a disadvantage. I'm curious to see Narco's strategy, but yeah, 20 bets from Narco Cop on this show to catch up. Because he was in Vegas doing some poker, I believe, right, Narco, last week. So how'd that go, by the way? You win some money, decent money?
Yeah, not enough, but yeah, I mean, 10,500 people in that tournament.
Oh my gosh.
I finished 359, which fucking sucks in the sense that it was 1.4 million for first. So it is what it is. We made some money, but not quite what we wanted.
Better what I would have finished.
Yeah, 300 out of 10,000 is amazing, dude. Congrats, that's awesome. But
yeah,
obviously, you would have wanted that 1.4 million. It'll come. All right, I say we get into it, guys. We're going to start with the first fight of the night, which was supposed to be the Brown Salikov fight. Now it's going to be this slop fest of a fight. But I'm actually looking forward to this one. I have way too much action on this fight. I'm terrified. I have like 4 or 5 bets on it, but hopefully it works out. We got Martin Budai going against Shamil Gaziev. We got Budai minus 123 currently. Gaziev plus 103. Gaziev's a very popular dog this week. Money's been pouring in on him all week. A couple interesting ways to attack. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. We'll start with you, Narco. Are you putting multiple bets on this fight?
Yeah, multiple bets for this one. I mean, this is one I have to, I guess, use my multiple bets on. And the first bet is going to be Shamil KO1. It's plus 650. And I mean, there's not really much to say about this guy other than he's going to come out fast, hard. I mean, he throws pretty hard. He's got decent striking, to be honest. And, in some of his fights, he grapples. I'm just not sure if he's going to be able to have success here grappling against a huge guy in Budai. So I think he should keep it standing and probably potentially land something big early. Now, I don't think Budai's ever been KO'd. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, he's never been KO'd. So, obviously he hasn't faced as good of a striker as this guy and as much power as this guy has. So, plus 650 there. But on the other side, this guy's a gas job. I mean, let's not look past that. Like, this guy gasses pretty damn fucking bad. Budai sub 2-3 plus 1,400. The reason why, and it's not because I don't think Budai even shoots for takedown. Like, he doesn't ever go for takedowns. The thing that I could see is the other guy getting tired, Budai landing a little bit on him, and then he's gonna shoot a sloppy takedown, Gaziev, and from there maybe Budai gets him with something. So 2-3 plus 1,400.
Yeah, I mean, I like that we're seeing it the exact same way. I have some of the same bets. I'm going to do Shamil round 1, Budai 2-3. That sub plus 1,400 is ridiculous. He's a brown belt. He's a really good grappler. He just needs to use it. If he uses it here, I can definitely see him submitting a gassed out Shamil. Weezy, I know me and you are kind of seeing the fight similar as well. So what plays you got on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of track bets on this fight already, but the thing I almost max bet was just fight doesn't go to decision at minus 167 on Bet River Sportsbook. Look, this is a Budai fight where we've had 3 of 4 fights actually go to decision, but 2 of 4 fights go the full 15, because we had a technical decision in the Fat Barnett fight. So we know that Budai is somebody who will fight at a slower pace if you let him, but this guy Gaziev has got about 2.5 minutes. I showed the video on my Just the Tip earlier this week, in which got it banned, and I had to clip it out. But it was this awesome Moyes Audio posted it on Twitter, and it was the post-fight interview for Shamil Gaziev on Dana White's Contender Series, and the fight was less than 3 minutes, and this guy could barely talk during the post-fight interview, which took place about 3 to 4 minutes after the fight was over. So, and I just don't, this guy's conditioning looks terrible. He's very, very front-loaded. So I think Gaziev finishes it in the first, or probably Budai finishes it in the second. So fight doesn't go to decision at -167. I think we're getting it at a huge discount this week because Martin Budai's past performances in the UFC have been against guys like Bresky and Fat Barnett and Fat Kelleher. You know, so he's faced a lot of fat guys that don't have great conditioning and will kind of like slow their pace a little bit. So I love this one to finish inside the distance.
Yeah, I mean, -167 could look like a steal in hindsight. Like Shamil's been over 1.5 only once.
And if you watch that fight, both guys were leaning on each other, completely dead after 5 minutes. So it was pretty hilarious, actually.
it was hard to watch, kind of down the stretch. So Johnny, we got Weezy with the fight doesn't go. Narco thinking violence as well. What do you think for this first fight of the card?
Yeah, I'm on the same side as you guys. I like Gaziev here. I think he's the more dangerous guy, obviously. I think he can knock him out. I think he can submit him if this fight does go to the mat, too, with his wrestling. But yeah, you have to worry about the gas tank a little bit. So I'm going to go with Gaziev to win in round 1, and that's at plus 460 on FanDuel, just by submission or KO in round 1, just in case, because I don't know what Gaziev's going to do. Maybe he does go for some wrestling early, and maybe he can get the back or something like that. So I do have a bet on him on the money line as well. I got it early in the week at plus 145. I'm just going to take a shot. I'm just not too impressed with Budai, to be honest. But he does have the cardio and the durability. He's never been finished in his career. So, but this is a different guy, though. I think Gaziev could finish all those guys that Budai has fought in the UFC. So I'm going to take a shot on him.
Yeah, I mean, I think the round 1's super live. I like it. So we got Johnny with the round 1, Gaziev, Uncle Weezy taking the fight doesn't go, Narco taking Shamil KO1, and then Budai sub 2-3. We got Monks all over Budai, so we'll see Monk. Shout out to Monk. We got Moyes in the chat. What is up? No time in the chat. What is up, everybody? And Andrew says, anybody missed weight? No, nobody missed weight, and everybody weighed in. Everything was good. All right, we'll move on to the next fight. Then we have Andre Fili going against Lucas Almeida. We got Andre Fili -154 currently. Lucas Almeida +134. We'll start with you, Weezy. What are you liking for this fight here?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Andre Fili to win by decision because we do see Fili grapple quite a bit. This guy's attempted 69 takedowns in the UFC in 20 UFC fights. That's 4.65 takedown attempts per 15 minutes. His grappling efficiency is solid. It's not phenomenal, but it's definitely right in the meaty part of the curve. And we just saw Lucas really struggle with the wrestling and the grappling. And I'm not saying that Andre Fili is on the level of Pat Sabatini's grappling and submission grappling especially. But, Fili does a lot of the same things well. He gets fights to the ground at a 48% clip on his takedowns. And this guy gets to his opponent's backs. So I kind of feel like if Fili wins this fight, the likelihood that he wins it in the pocket, swinging bombs with Almeida, no bueno. But if he fights smart and mixes in the grappling here and uses that great length to kind of stay on the outside against this guy, I think he wins it a decision at plus 225.
240.
Plus, whoa, 240 where?
On Bet Rivers.
Fair enough. Let's do plus 240 for that.
Bet Rivers is awesome. I love Bet Rivers. All right, so taking Andre Fili by decision. The path is there. We'll see if he uses it. Johnny, what are you liking for this fight here?
Yeah, I'm with Weezy here. I was going to do Fili by decision. I think he's just a better overall fighter. I like his wrestling upside and grappling. Almeida may have the KO power to knock out Fili because we've seen Fili get, knocked out and knocked down a couple times here and there in his last few fights. But I think if Fili was smart, I think he would use that wrestling. And I'm not saying use it the whole fight, but at least early on, just to wear on Almeida. And I think he gets this one done by decision. I don't think he'll be able to submit him. I was actually thinking about doing a Fili by submission, but the odds weren't like as great as I thought they were going to be. So I'm just going to go by decision. I think he gets the points. So I'm going to go by Fili by decision.
All right, 2 for 2. Narco, what are you liking for this fight here?
All right, this one, we're going to go with fight goes to decision, plus 152. And I guess the over 2.5 also you can tack on to a plus
Ooh,
one.
double. I like it.
I just think this
I like
fight
it.
goes over, honestly. Almeida's a lot tougher than people think. And I think Fili is also extremely tough. Like, he gets dropped and hurt a lot, but it's extremely hard to like finish him. Almeida hits very hard for what it's worth, but I think he's going to be a little slower than Fili as well. And I think, yeah, Fili can implement maybe some grappling here. I mean, he's not a guy that shoots a lot of late for whatever reason. He tends to just like to stand and strike, and he's a pretty good striker, but I just feel like this is a goes to decision type of fight.
All right, Narco taking the fight goes and the over 2.5. I like that. If you hit both, that's what, like 2.75 units right there. So I
There you
like
go.
that. Like that strategy. Uncle Weezy taking the Fili decision. Johnny taking the Fili decision, and we'll see if he gets it done. All right, moving on to the next fight, we got Tagir Ulanbekov going against Cody Durden. Looks like some money as of late has came in on Durden. Ulanbekov now minus 161. Durden is plus 141. We'll start with you, Johnny. What are you liking for this fight here?
Yeah, as a pick in like a tracked bet, I got Cody Durden here. I think he gets this one done. But as a best bet here, I'm gonna go with Tagir by submission at plus 350. I just think Cody Durden, he's gonna be good in this fight, but he always leaves his neck out there, and he always puts himself sometimes in some bad situations in a lot of fights. And Tagir has a very good choke, so I'm just gonna hedge like my tracked bets here and my pick, and then just gonna go with the Tagir plus 350 sub prop.
All right, Narco, how are you seeing this one?
Yeah, man. I'm so like split on this fight, honestly. I wanted to bet Durden, but like this is probably the best grappler he's faced, and as far as like anti-grappling and stuff like that. And we've seen like Tagir against Nascimento is extremely good grappler. So it's like I don't know which way to go with this fight. I kind of lean Tagir here. I think he's the better striker. I think probably this fight most likely stays on the feet more often than not. So I'm gonna go with Tagir money line at minus 160 or whatever is there. So I think he gets it done. I think this is probably Cody's worst matchup. Looking at Charles Johnson, the Hadley matchup was a little tough. But he happened to get out of those submissions, man. He's tough, but I think Tagir is going to give him a little bit of a harder time with the takedowns and stuff. So, yeah, give me Tagir at minus 160.
All right, yep. The money line has came down to Gear minus 160 currently. Weezy, what do you got for this fight here?
Yeah, just in the holiday spirit of being a big prick here, Johnny K went with the Ulanbekov sub, so I'm going to one-up him here and go with Ulanbekov sub round 1, because Ulanbekov does have one submission win in the UFC and no submission losses. That submission win came in round 1 via guillotine against Nate Maness. Cody Durden, 0 wins and 2 losses to the submission in his UFC career. Both submission losses to Jimmy Flick and Muhammad Makayev come in the very first round. So I think that if Ulanbekov does get the sub, it's probably in round 1. So why not bump that plus 350 up to plus 950? And that's what I'm doing for this one.
Like it.
All right. Tagir sub 1 plus 950 for 9.5 units. There we go. Love it. All right. So move on to the next fight then. We have Dustin Jacobe going against Alonzo Manfield. Dustin Jacobe, pretty decent size favorite here, minus 279. Alonzo Manfield plus 239. Narco, what are you liking for this fight here?
Yeah, this one was a little bit of a head scratcher for me. Like, I kind of don't understand why Jacoby's this big of a favorite, honestly. Like, there's really no grappling upside, right? He's fighting a striker, a Muay Thai guy who I would give the power advantage to Manfield here. And yet this guy's minus 280. I think it's more recency bias than anything. When you look at Jacobe, had a nice win against Kennedy, and all of a sudden, this price is ballooned on him like this. I feel like Manfield is sort of like Roundtree, right? He's kind of like a Roundtree here, and he's getting disrespected at this price, to be honest. So with that being said, I like Manfield here on the money line. plus 239. I feel like that price is way off. The other thing I'm going to give is I'm going to go out and shoot a home run here. I'm going to go Manfield by split here at plus 2,200. And that's basically because Dustin Jacobe always fucking fights close. Like, this guy doesn't pull away from no one. He doesn't have the best fight IQ. So Manfield money line and the plus 2,200 on the split.
Plus 2,200, the biggest prop given out thus far. My goodness. You don't usually see a split prop that wide, do you? That's wide.
Yeah. I mean, it's just on, well, it's on one side because this fight, the fight to go to decision is like a pretty decent line. I mean, it's plus money, and they don't figure Manfield can win a decision here because his decision prop alone is in the 700s.
Okay. Yeah. Johnny, how are you seeing this one?
Yeah, this is like Narco said, it's a head scratcher. My pick is Jacobe, but I'm not like super confident whatsoever. I don't have any tracked bets on this one. I'm just going with Jacobe's volume to win this fight. But Manfield has that power advantage for sure, and I think he can clip Jacobe. I know Jacobe's been clipped a couple times, especially in the first round. Ian Cutelaba this is the first one that I can think of right off the bat. He got 10 aided that round. He survived somehow, and then he actually got that fight to a draw somehow too. So I'm going to go with Manfield by knockout at plus 500. I think he's got a shot. He's going to be live for a knockout, at least in the first 2 rounds, maybe third round too, because we've seen Jacobe slow down as the fight goes on too, and his hands get a little bit lower. He gets a little bit more hittable as the fight goes on too. A lot of round 3s, he doesn't look good in round 3 at all. So the Roundtree fight especially, like he was getting lit up in round 3. So give me Manfield by knockout plus 500.
All right, and Eiffel was watching. If we ever watch Jacobe, I have a sneaky suspicion we have all watched Jacobe fight. Weezy, what do you like for this fight here?
Yeah, so what I like here is the fight does not start round 2. Both of these guys, when they do finish fights, it's in the first round. You got Jacobe's had 10 UFC fights. 4 of them have finished in the first round. Alonzo Manfield's had 11 UFC fights. 5 of them have finished in the first round. So that's 9 of 21, or just under 43% of their combined 21 fight sample size has finished in round 1. The fight doesn't start round 3, or fight doesn't start round 2 at plus 235 right now on Bet Rivers Sportsbook. You're paying less than 30% implied probability for about a 43% fighter performance. Fight doesn't start round 2 in the light heavyweight division about 37.5% of the time, which is much more than the 29.85% price. So it's just a fat number to play violence and to play both fighters' best violence possibility here. Jacobe hits hard. Alonzo Manfield, all you have to do is take one look at the dude. He's built like a refrigerator. Of course, if he hits you, you're going down. So I think if somebody gets served, it's in the first here, and we're going to get a fat plus money number for it. So I'm chasing the dream here, going for the plus 235.
All right, chasing the dream plus 235. So Weezy going with the fight won't start round 2. Narco taking Manfield money line plus 239. Manfield split plus 2,200. And Johnny taking the Manfield KO plus 500. We got free UFC bet picks in the building. What is up? How you doing? And all right, so we'll move on to the next fight then. We have Casey O'Neill going against Ariana Lipsky. We'll start with you, Weezy. What are you liking for this fight here? We got O'Neill minus 205, and we got Lipsky plus 175 here.
Okay, yeah, Lipsky money line plus 175. The takedown defense has been phenomenal lately. And, you know, the last 2 fights, she's seen 19 takedown attempts against, and she stuffed every single one of them, you know, against JJ Aldrich and Melissa Gatto. So Casey O'Neill is going to probably try to wrestle. She's probably going to pressure. But Ariane Lipsky is a very precise and technical kickboxer, and she has rare power for the women's flyweight division. So if she keeps this fight standing, she's going to look way better than plus 175. She probably looks around minus 150 if Casey is unable to get this fight to the ground and keep it there. So I'll take the shot here that she continues the trend of stuffing a ton of takedowns, keeping the fight standing, and landing the bigger strikes at distance striking range. Plus 175 money line, Ariane Lipsky.
All right, Lipsky money line plus 175. Narco, you have 2, 4, 6, 7 bets thus far. What are you liking for this fight?
So here I'm going to go also with the Lipsky money line at plus 175. I like how much improved this girl's takedown defense is. I mean, it's improved leaps and bounds. She's still very young. She's still only 29 years old. She has way more experience than Casey O'Neill. And also in the clinch, when you get in the clinch with her, she has nasty, nasty knees. So, Casey O'Neill coming off an ACL, coming off a broken nose, that's 2 surgeries in a row. I kind of feel like the money line is good here on Lipsky, but I'm going to give 2 bets here. The fact that Casey O'Neill, if she's able to get takedowns, I mean, the girl is pretty vicious on top. She doesn't stop. I like the 2-3 KO on her. It's plus 1,000. I think if she gets to those positions like mount and stuff, I think she is going to be able to finish Lipsky. And Lipsky has been finished with ground and pound before. I think 2 or 3 times. So, I mean, KO 2-3 is 1,000, but the Lipsky money line plus 175. If this stays standing, she's going to absolutely light up Casey O'Neill because she's extremely bad when it comes to striking defense.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to play it. I feel like those are 2 very live outcomes. If Lipsky stuffs the takedown, she should win. If she gets taken down, it's going to be a rough night, I think. Johnny, how are you seeing this one?
Yeah, this is one of those fights where I was going back and forth with, but for my bet here, I'm going to do O'Neill by knockout at plus 500 on FanDuel. If she does, like Narco said, if this fight does get to the mat in case he gets that takedown, I think the ground and pound is live here. But even on the feet, I think Casey O'Neill has a shot to just make like death by 1,000 cuts. Her volume is crazy. She throws like over 8 strikes per minute, and she can take a punch. She always pushes forward. Lipsky sometimes doesn't really move her head that often either. She doesn't really have the greatest striking defense either. So if this fight does play on the feet, there's going to be a lot of volume, but I think O'Neill will have more. And if O'Neill does go for takedowns, which she hasn't really done, I don't know if that's injury related with her knee, but if she does, I think she could get this fight to the mat and get the ground and pound knockout too. So give me that one.
All right, fair enough. O'Neill KO plus 500, which is, I feel like it's kind of crazy. I feel like that's her win condition. Narco taking the Lipsky money line and O'Neill KO 2-3 plus 1,000 there for that. And then Weezy taking the Lipsky money line plus 175 there. For UFC bet picks is on the Lipsky money line and the Lipsky plus 3.5. We shall see.
I like it.
We'll move on to the next fight. We have, I don't know, a fight that really freaking confuses me. We have Cody Garbrandt going against Brian Kelleher. We got Garbrandt minus 180, Brian Kelleher plus 155. We'll start with you, Johnny. What are you liking for this fight here?
Yeah, this is one of my legs for my neck tattoo parlay this week. I also have Fili and Garbrandt, but I like Garbrandt in this fight, and I know everyone's questioning his chin and stuff, and I totally get that. But Kelleher is not the greatest knockout artist either, so I'm not too scared for Cody's chin in this fight. But overall, I think he's the better fighter here. But I'm gonna say that he does get a knockout in this fight, and he actually looks really good. Kelleher's coming off his major spinal neck surgery or whatever he had done, so that's a big red flag for me. Cody's last fight was his rust fight where he got all the rust off. He looked good like in the first round against Trevin Jones, but then he started to fade a bit. But I'm gonna go with Garbrandt by KO in rounds 2 or 3 at plus 500 on FanDuel. I think eventually he does get the knockout on Kelleher. Maybe Kelleher tries to go for some like guillotines and tries to jump him, but that's the one little worry that I might have for Kelleher winning. But I think Garbrandt gets it done by knockout.
All right, Garbrandt knockout 2-3 plus 500. Weezy, what are you liking for this fight here?
So I'm going with the fight goes to decision at plus 125 on Bet Online Sportsbook here. I think one of the best ways to find value in the markets is in the rare situations where you find a fighter who's kind of changed the way that they fight. Most recently, for instance, that Vicente Luque last fight against Rafael dos Anjos, every Luque fight that ever happened, this dude's in the pocket, swinging bombs, trusting his chin, and then the Jeff Neal fight changed him. And then from now, then you go and you see the Dos Anjos fight, and there was all this control time, all this clinching. He's shooting all of a sudden double-digit takedowns, Garbrandt is afraid to get touched. He's gonna wrestle here. And if these guys wrestle, I think it goes the full 15 minutes. I mean, absolutely, Kelleher could hit a guillotine on anybody. Garbrandt it does still have power. The power is going to be the last thing to go for him. But you want to know how many significant strikes Cody Garbrandt threw from distance in the Trevin Jones fight?
30.
Now, this is a fight that had just over 4 minutes of control time. So almost 11 minutes. Almost 11 minutes at distance striking range. And Cody Garbrandt threw 28 significant strike attempts. Just over 2 significant strike attempts per minute. This is a guy who's changed the way that he's fought, and he's way more concerned with defense than he used to be. I think it goes the full 3, and we're getting plus money on a bantamweight fight going the distance. I like it.
You said plus 125, right?
Yes, sir, on BetOnline Sportsbook.
Okay, I see a plus 130, so I'll give you that.
Yay.
Heck yeah. All right. And then we have Will has too much money on Cody. I have no money on this fight, and I'm perfectly happy with that personally. Narco, what are you liking for this fight here?
Yeah, I'm right there with Uncle Weezy. I like fight goes. And that's basically because, like, I know Cody has nice hands and he has power, but man, Kelleher is extremely hard to KO. I mean, Cody doesn't have any subs. Kelleher has been KO'd one time in his career, and that's by John Lineker. I mean, fuck. That guy can KO anybody. But I mean, he's got a lot of UFC fights. He's never even been knocked down, believe it or not, outside of the Lineker fight. So, yeah, Cody doesn't really want to get into firefights of late. You could kind of see it with the Trevin Jones fight. I don't think he's going to be trying to, put steam on his punches either. I think he's just going to want to touch and move. It's a bigger cage. I mean, he's much faster than Kelleher. And, Kelleher off that C5, C6 fuse. He got it fused. I mean, that's a bad surgery, man. It's a very, very bad surgery. I have a C5, C6 myself, so I know what the hell it is. And I wouldn't even want to do that surgery, to be honest. And this guy's coming back fighting. That's not an easy surgery to come back and fight with. And apparently he was told that if you want to do the surgery, you can never fight again. But
Goodness.
He's fighting.
That's how you trick him into giving you the surgery, baby. It's like, I lied, bitch.
So I'm going to go fight goes to decision, whatever that is. You said plus 130 or whatever. Yep. And then I'm going to also go with Garbrandt decision, because I do think he's going to have, he's the much faster guy. He's just a better MMA fighter. So plus 200, I think it is, in that range. I like that as well.
All right, Narco taking the fight goes in the Garbrandt decision. Johnny taking the Garbrandt KO 2-3, and then Weezy taking the Garbrandt fight goes to decision as well. Just want to double check and see if we might be able to get you a better price on the Garbrandt decision. 217. What book is that? Pinnacle. Is it legit? I don't know. Is Pinnacle legit? Anybody know?
I don't know.
Yeah, Pinnacle is one of the biggest books in the world, actually, but it's an offshore. It's kind of like a bet online.
That's fine. I'll give it to you.
Just give me the 200. That's what's the
okay,
the one that's around. So
I gotcha. All right, sounds good. Next we have, I believe this is, believe it or not, the featured prelim. We have Irene Aldana going against Carol Rosa. We got Aldana minus 170, Carol Rosa plus 145. Weezy, take it away. Just take it off the card.
I know, dude. Yeah, I was waiting for that. Yeah, I'm gonna pass. I mean, pass.
Yes,
that's where we're at.
You're gonna ass on this fight.
I'm assing on this one, dude. Forget it. You can't trick me.
I got you. So Weezy using up one of his 2 passes. Weezy have 1 pass left. Johnny, what do you like for this featured prelim here?
Yeah, fortunately, this is my pass as well. And the only reason why is because I couldn't find a good prop above like plus 300. So I don't know what to do on this one. So I do think Aldana wins. I think she's the better striker, and I don't trust Rosa at all with any game plan in what she does, because she should strike when she should wrestle, and then she wrestles when she should strike. So I think Aldana wins, but there's just no prop for me to move up in the rankings. So pass.
Uh,
All right, and then Narco, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I got the money line on Carol Rosa plus 155, I believe it is right now. Well, Aldana looked like death on the scales, to be honest. Like, I don't know if did you see her eyes? Like, they were even fucking crossed, man.
Yeah,
like she needed the curtain. Like, she did not look good on the scale. And that's a big girl too. Like she's, and meanwhile, on the other hand, like, I don't know if you guys noticed, but normally Carol Rosa has that like little belly fat. She looked extremely good on the scales, man. She lost that belly fat, man. She looks like she's in the best shape of her career. And it's like, You know, I just think this is a 50-50 fight, to be honest. Like the way Aldana fights, like look at the Macy Chiasson fight. Like if she doesn't land the up kick to the liver, she loses the fight.
Yeah.
And it's like at this point of her career, the trajectory doesn't seem like it's going up. I feel like it's going down. So I'm gonna take a shot on the money line, Carol Rosa here.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. Rosa looked like in the best shape of her life. She looked really good. I did notice that. All right,
guys, it was because her last like 2 or 3 fights were actually at 145, so she didn't have to cut really, and she could just kind of like look how she walks around. So yeah, she looked way better this time, but also weighed in 10 pounds less than what she normally does.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. We got Bailey in the chat. What is up? All right, so that was the featured prelim, believe it or not. Gonna do a quick recap here for everybody in the chat. We have we got Uncle Weezy taking what?
No, you just said believe that was the featured prelim, believe it or not, you know.
Believe it or not,
you know, it's like that wasn't
crazy,
it wasn't the original plan when we still had Ian Gary versus Luke.
Yeah. So that improvised a little bit, but Uncle Weezy, you're taking the Budai Shamil fight doesn't go minus 167, Fili decision plus 240, Zagir sub 950, Jacobe fight starts round or fight won't start round 2. There we go. Plus 235. Lipsky money line 175. Garbrandt fight goes to decision plus 130, and then passing on the Aldana fight. Narco, you have 20 bets today. You're taking Shamil KO 1 plus 650 and Budai sub 2-3 1400. Fili fight goes 152, and then the over as well 125. To Gear money line 160. Manfield money line plus 239. Manfield split plus 2,200. Lipsky money line plus 175. And O'Neal KO 2-3 plus 1,000. The Garbrandt fight goes plus 130 and Garbrandt decision plus 200. And then the Carol Rosa money line plus 155. Johnny, you are taking Gaziev round 1, 460. Fili wins by decision 240. To Gear sub 350. Manfield KO 500. O'Neal KO 500. Garbrandt KO 2-3 500. And then passing on the Aldana fight. Johnny, you have 1 pass left. Weezy, you have 1 pass left. Narco, you have 9 bets left for the main card. Thank everybody for tuning in. If you guys could smash the like button, subscribe, go subscribe to these guys as well. We're going to move on to the first fight on this main card. And we have Josh Emmett going against Bryce Mitchell. Looks like some late money has come in on Bryce Mitchell. He's now minus 240. Josh Emmett is sitting at plus 205. We'll start with you first, Uncle Weezy. What are you liking for the first fight on this stacked main card?
Yeah, I don't love this fight from a betting perspective, but for the sake of the show, you know, I was thinking of getting to a Josh Emmett bet all week. You know, I know he's old, right? But Bryce Mitchell's taking this fight on short notice. Bryce Mitchell doesn't have the best conditioning, and he has a style that requires excellent conditioning because this guy is a relentless wrestler, the kind of guy who isn't the highest percent on his takedown attempts, but he will continue chaining them together. And even when he's tired, he will continue to wrestle and push through being tired. So, but Josh Emmett is still moves really well. And his striking style does involve a lot of lateral footwork. And I think he might be the style of opponent that Bryce really has a hard time closing the distance on and finding high percentage takedown attempts. And if that's the case, plus 205, I think Josh Emmett's going to look way better than that. He will be landing the bigger shots on the feet here. We know that. And Josh has actually faced a much better brand of competition, and he's more experienced at the UFC level. So I'll take the shot on Emmett plus 205. I don't love it, but the number's right.
Yeah, it's a big number for sure. Johnny, what do you like for this fight here?
Yeah, I'm on the opposite side here. I like Mitchell a lot here. I know he's taking this fight on short notice. Emmett was preparing for a striker in Giga, and now he's getting the exact opposite in a wrestler grappler who only wants to wrestle and grapple. And I actually think Bryce's cardio is pretty good. I'm not saying it's amazing like Marab by any means, but he does chain wrestle. He does go for it. And when he does get those takedowns, he's not letting the other person up. So Emmett's takedown defense isn't all that great. Yes, he's going to have the better power, and he probably will crack Bryce once or twice at least. But I think eventually, like in the later part of this fight, I think Bryce will get that submission. So I'm going to go with Mitchell by submission in rounds 2 or 3 on FanDuel at plus 800. I think that line is a little bit off a bit because I think Bryce's win condition is probably by submission, and I don't think Emmett's ever fought a grappler like this before, and he's easily taken down. And I know Yair was able to take him down and get that submission, all that good stuff. But yeah, I think Mitchell gets this one done. And I'm not gonna say it's gonna look easy, but I think he's gonna get it done.
All right, Mitchell sub 2-3 plus 800. Weezy is on the Emmett money line plus 205. Narco, what are you on for this fight here?
So I like the sub as well. I think this is the best grappler he's faced. The one thing with Bryce is like he doesn't have, I think, maybe one sub in the UFC, maybe none even. But he goes for him a one. So he goes for him a lot, though. He has a lot of sub attempts. And when you look at Emmett, man, like, you know, I understand he went, 5 rounds with Topuria, but he looked awful. And Yair Rodriguez fight, he looked awful. Like, I think this guy is aging pretty damn quick. And, sub is plus 400. But also, honestly, the under 2.5 at plus 160. Because, dude, like, on the feet, Mitchell's so fucking hittable. And he's facing a guy that hits like an absolute tank. I mean, the one thing that doesn't go away when you're 38 is your power. And he still has it. Like, if he lands a bomb, I could see him putting out Mitchell, to be honest. And when you look at, like, prior to the recent run, right, of the last 5 or 6 fights for Emmett, everybody was talking about how much this guy puts out people with one punch, how much power he has. And all of a sudden, that's kind of gone away, right? Like, people haven't really been talking about his KO power. And I think the main reasoning is look at the guys he's been facing. Like, a lot of these guys are extremely tough to get out of there, and that's just been the cause of it. Like, Mitchell is probably the most hittable of all these guys that he's been facing. So, I don't know, under plus money here. I see both guys can finish, but also I feel like Mitchell has more finishing upside in the sense that if he gets this fight to the ground, I think he might be able to sneak in a sub.
So did you want both the sub and the under, or just
yeah, the sub on Bryce, and then the under 2.5 at plus 160.
All right, yep. Mitchell sub plus 400, under 2.5 at plus 160 there. Narco, you are now up to 13 bets. Weezy going Emmett money line 205, and then Johnny going with the sub as well, but the 2-3 at plus 800. Somebody asks, Narco, you think a splits live maybe or no?
I think it's more of a binary fight, to be honest. Like, if Mitchell gets it down, I think he wins the fight. But if it stays standing, I think he probably gets knocked out. So yeah, I kind of don't like the split here in this fight.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel it. All right, guys, we'll move on to a fight that should not be sanctioned. We have Paddy Pimblett going against Tony Ferguson. I'm kind of surprised, like, this much money's coming in on Paddy. What is he, minus 340 now? Tony Ferguson plus 280. Uncle Weezy, what do you got for this fight here?
I'm passing on this one, man. I think it's going to be a thoroughly enjoyable fight to watch. I really do. I mean, like, Tony Ferguson, one of my favorite fighters of all time. And yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit mad about Paddy Pimblett getting that decision. I'm not a little bit mad. Let's face it. I'm still butthurt, frankly, about it. But either way, it doesn't matter. Nothing we can do about that now. Paddy Pimblett's a really likable guy. I've been saying as soon as this dude learns how to speak English, he's going to be a huge star in the UFC. And I think it's going to be a really fun fight to watch. I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be an absolute banger, but I am just staying away, not putting my money anywhere near it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Narco, what do you like for this fight here?
Yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, we know who they're trying to set up here. You cannot be blind to the fact that they're trying to set up Paddy Pimblett for a win here. Like, you can't be blind. Like, listen, there's fixes, there's this, that we talk about, but this I'm not saying it's a fix. I'm saying that they're giving them someone that they know is washed. Tony Ferguson is about as washed. And then people talk about, oh, well, this guy should have lost to Gordon. Well, I think Gordon would probably beat the shit out of Tony Ferguson, though. That's the point. Like, guys, Tony Ferguson he dropped Green, but it was like a jab and he was off balance. Green wasn't really hurt. And then the other 14 and a half minutes, he was kicking his ass. Like, dude, he was a punching bag. Like, Tony Ferguson is not the same guy. I don't give a shit if he's running hills, if he's doing that. That's not going to help him move his head. He doesn't move his head. He's so fucking slow now. dude, they're setting up. Listen, the UFC, Dana White said it over and over again. I don't know if you guys listen to what he says in these interviews. He talked about, there was one, this is going to be quick. There was one show in England that Paddy Pimblett was on. Forgot who the main event was. But when Paddy Pimblett went to do like an interview or something, he got the most views out of everything in that show. He had the most views, and Dana White pointed it out. Like, he knows who the fuck the money guy is right now, and it's Paddy Pimblett. They're not going to want this fucker to lose, and they're giving him Tony Ferguson, okay? Tony Ferguson's washed. I don't want to hear, oh, Tony this, Tony that. He's a fucking washed fighter. Pimblett KO's 370. I'm giving that. I mean, I like Pimblett to knock this guy out, man. He doesn't have a lot of knockouts, but you don't need a lot to finish Tony at this point.
Yeah, I mean, that Bobby Green fight was so hard to watch. I was like cringing at like everything that was landing. It was hard to watch there. Yeah, Narco's keeping it real there. I agree with everything you said. Johnny, what are you liking for this fight here?
Yeah, I got the same bet as Narco. I think Paddy gets it done by knockout. Sure, he can probably get a submission, but the price wasn't right for me. I got to go higher than that. Paddy does have power in his hands, though. It's not the most technical, and he can take a punch. But yeah, Tony's washed. Let's be honest. Like Narco said, like he's not going to win this fight, guys. It's just not going to happen. So I think Paddy doesn't care about being respectful here. He needs to get a win. He needs to be, and it needs to be like noticeable win, like a big win for him, and he needs to get a knockout or a submission. But I'm going to lean towards a knockout with the higher price at plus 370. I'll take that. I think that's going to happen. Or he could get a submission too. But I mean, track bet wise, I got inside the distance for Paddy, but for here I got
All right, yeah, Johnny going KO. Narco going KO. Weezy used up his last pass of the card. Johnny, you still have one. And Narco, you are at 15 bets, so you have 5 more on these last 3 fights there. All right, we'll move on to the next fight. Speaking of the UFC wanting somebody to win, I mean, my gosh, Shavkat Rakhmonov minus 600. Biggest favorite on the card going against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, plus 425. We'll start with you, Johnny. What are you liking for this fight here?
Yeah, I like Shavkat a lot. Let's put it that way. Here's the problem, though. I just don't know how he's going to win. I think he can win by a knockout. I think he can win by a submission. And I think he can win by a decision. So I'm going to pass on this for the betting wise. But I think Shavkat wins. And I wouldn't be shocked, honestly, if he wins by a decision. I was this close to putting that on my best bet. But I'm just going to stay away because I can see a submission later in the fight. I can see a knockout later in the fight. I just don't think there's going to be a finish in round 1. I'll put it that way. But give me Shavkat to win by however he wants to win.
All right, Johnny used up his last pass. There will be no more passing for the rest of the show. Narco, what are you liking for this fight here?
Yeah, this one is all day Rakhmonov. I'm going to double dip on him here. I'm going to go ITD minus 175, even though it's a shitty number. And I'm also going to add the knockout. I think it's most likely knockout, to be honest. And the reason why is I kind of went deep on this because it's a play of mine, the KO. And the main reason why I like knockout here is if you watch his submissions, Rakhmonov, and most of those submissions, it's guys that are getting hurt and they're clinching with him. Outside of the Neal one where he just standing rear. But outside of that, the other guys are clinching with him. They're trying to get him down after he hurts him. It's just not something Thompson's going to do, dude. He doesn't clinch. He doesn't wrestle. He doesn't know any of that stuff. He's going to try to stand. And if Rakhmonov gets on top, he's probably going to punish him. Just look at the Bilal Muhammad. It was this close to being stopped in round 1. Imagine if that was on top of him was Rakhmonov. Like, he's landing huge shots, not like Bilal. So I like the KO quite a bit here. I think he could do it standing. I love Stephen Thompson, but damn, 41. He's going to be pushing 41, guys. Like, he's been getting hurt. Like, Rakhmonov is an absolute killer. He's finished all 17 of his fights. Jeff Neal, like, imagine the punishment he gave Jeff Neal. Like, there's no way Thompson's taking that. Like, no freaking way at 40 years old he's taking that punishment. So, plus 290, I really like the KO and ITD here.
Yep, I'm on the KO as well, and I'm right there with you. It was that Bilal Muhammad fight that made me be like, yep. I mean, if Shavkat does this, it's not going to look good at all. So, Weezy, what are you liking in this fight here?
Yeah, I mean, it's silly because we know that Shavkat inside the distance is going between minus 175 to minus 225. But to get the KO at plus 285, when this guy's ground and pound is literally probably the best in the entire UFC. I mean, he's top 5 in the UFC for sure with that ground and pound. And like Narco Cop said, Prazeres clinched up with him for dear life because the dude's like 5'2". Oliveira clinched up with him for dear life. Dude, Stephen Thompson's not going to get anywhere near this guy. So Shavkat's going to have to work from the outside. And if he does get a takedown, it's going to be the ground and pound that finishes the fight. So that's what I'm going with.
All right. Weezy taking the KO, Narco taking inside the distance and KO, and then Johnny taking the pass there. All right. So we got 2 fights left. Now we have the co-main event. Alexander Pantoja going against Brandon Royval. Narco, we'll start with you. You have 3 bets left. What do you like for the co-main event here?
Man, I really like fight goes to decision here, man. It's plus 380. That line is pretty crazy to me. I have no idea why they have such a crazy line for fight goes. And the one thing that stuck out to me, and guys, like, this is very puzzling. I don't know why it's where it's at, but Royval KO is fucking plus 350. Let me put it to you this way. Royval has 4 knockouts in his career. 2 are by knees, 1 is by injury, and 1 is his pro debut against who knows who, right? The other side, Pantoja's never been knocked out. Like, Royval's hands are not, he doesn't have power in his hands. Like, it has to be like a knee or something to knock out Pantoja. I don't see him knocking him out. And yet they're giving it's plus 350. What a puzzling line. I'm going to go with the fight goes, but then I'm going to go on the Pantoja decision line, which also is astronomical at plus like 700 or something. I just like the fight goes here, man, in general. Like Roy, even if you like Royval, like plus 1,000 on his decision, like it's fucking bonkers. I don't understand it. So yeah, I mean, decision prop. The 2 I'm going to give you is fight goes to decision at plus 380, and then I like the Pantoja side. So Pantoja decision at plus 700.
I see 750 on Bet River, so give you
even
750
better.
there.
Even
There
better.
you go. All right, Johnny, what do you like for this co-main event?
Yeah, both guys are killers. Like, they go for it. They got good submissions. They got good knockouts, anything you want. But there's one guy that just doesn't get killed, and that's Pantoja. So I'm going to go with Pantoja to get the submission in rounds 2 or 3 at plus 460 on FanDuel. I think it kind of happens the same way it happened in the first fight. I think Pantoja has the clear wrestling advantage. Royval has very little takedown defense, and eventually he's going to take his back and get the submission. It might take a round. I'm hoping it does. Let's put it that way. But I think rounds 2 or 3, it's going to happen by submission. So, like I said, I think Royval is a killer, be killed kind of fighter. Pantoja is just a killer. He doesn't get killed. So Pantoja is going to win this fight no matter what. But I'm going to say by sub rounds 2 or 3.
All right, and then Uncle Weezy, I have a feeling that this may or may not be your ass shaving of the week. So what do you like here?
Yeah, Pantoja inside the distance for me. And I get why this is minus 550. Fight doesn't go to decision. The way that Brandon Royval fights, he kind of finishes on his own right just because of the ridiculous output and offense. This guy's all offense, 0% defense, striking defense, ass, clinch defense, ass, takedown defense, ass. It's just ass all around. So, and with a guy like Pantoja, you just can't leave those kind of openings because the guy's chin is ridiculous. And if you hit him flush in the face, he eats it like a flapjack. The guy looks drunk out there. Between rounds 1 and 2, I was laughing because I had picked Pantoja. I'm like, dude, this fight's over. That guy looks like he's on his deathbed. In between rounds 1 and 2, that fight went to full 25. And he won 3 out of the next 4 rounds. The only one he lost was the second, and then he goes out there and he wins the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th. And the guy looks drunk and completely exhausted. You're not getting him out of there, Brandon. And you leave too many openings. You're going to eat a big shot on the feet, potentially. Anytime that Pantoja gets sick of the pressure and volume of Royval, he can absolutely take him down. And once he takes him down, Royval's going to go for some shitty leg lock. He's going to get punched in the face and he's going to get his back taken. It's Pantoja inside the distance, minus 125, ass shaving of the week and still.
Let's go. Matthew's saying Weezy's a killer be killed streamer. What does that mean?
That's
like
hilarious.
it. I like it.
That's awesome.
That is amazing. So Weezy's killer be killed when it comes to the streaming. It doesn't get much better than that. All right, guys, main event time. If you haven't liked already, like the video. If you haven't already subscribe, and then go subscribe to these guys as well. Uncle Weezy, Narco Cop, and JohnnyKpicks. Main event, we have Leon Edwards minus 160, Colby Covington plus 140. Narco, you got one bet left. What are you liking for the main event here?
Yeah, let's go with Colby Covington money line here at plus 145 or whatever you have over there. And like I kind of went back and forth, but the one thing that kind of stuck out to me is in both Usman fights, I honestly don't think he's improved his takedown defense. What he did improve in the second fight was the get-up game. I think his get-up game was a little bit better. But the difference between Colby's wrestling and Usman is the fact that Colby is much more of a chain wrestler. He doesn't like Usman will shoot one, and if you have it like kind of stuff, he's just gonna let it go, right? Colby's gonna keep going until he gets you down. Also, the pace that Colby brings, it's much different than Usman. Like this guy's gonna continually try to wrestle. He's gonna continually try to go for it, and his control when he gets you down, I think, is much better than Usman's. Like he tries to get your back. He puts a hook in, he does those things that Usman doesn't really do. And the other thing is like when you watch the second fight with Usman and Edwards, I swear, like in round, I think it was 3 or 4, it almost looked like Edwards wanted to quit. And that's the type of pace that Colby's going to bring here. Like, yeah, he has a big layoff. Yes, all of that is true. But man, like Colby's wrestling is not going away anytime soon. And I don't think his cardio is going away anytime soon. So those are the two things that I see here that are going to be a huge factor for Colby Covington. Also, a huge important factor is the fact that Leon Edwards loves the body kick. But this is southpaw against southpaw. So I don't think he's going to have that body kick there. That's what he sets up for the head kick. He's not going to have that here. So he's not much of a calf kicker. So I don't see that happening. Yeah, I like Colby here, man. I what he said in the interview, a lot of people are emotionally now betting against him because of the stupid antics that he does and the shit that he says. But I think emotions aside, like you should, he's the very good wrestler here. He's got the cardio. He has all the attributes to win at plus 140. So I think this line is a little off here in my opinion. So it's probably because he's been off for so long. He got punched by Masvidal, got that surgery, whatever. But I don't think that's much of a factor for me.
All right. Covington, money line, 145. Johnny, what are you liking for the main event?
Yeah, I was going back and forth on this one too. So I do think Colby's going to get some takedowns here, and I think a pretty good amount, especially later in this fight. So I'm going to go with like point to be deducted, and I think that's like 1,200. It's not the greatest line, but I think Leon Edwards likes to grab those cages, and we've seen it in 2 of the Usman fights, and he got deducted the second time. But there's going to be more opportunities in this fight for Leon to grab that cage because I think he's going to be taken down a lot in this fight. He might not, Colby might not win this fight, but I see him getting taken down, or Leon getting taken down a lot in this fight. So I'm going to go with that. Point to be deducted, Yam Bag special, plus 1,200. It's not the greatest Yam Bag line, but I'm going to give it a shot.
I was about to say, if you didn't say Yam Bag, Lou would be pretty disappointed, but you did sneak it in there. It's plus 1,200. Those are usually plus 2,000.
2,000, yeah. But I think everybody knows. It's like this is a good opportunity because Colby's a chain wrestler against the cage. I think it's going to happen at least once or twice. But the ref has to do it, though. The ref has to call it. We'll see what happens.
You can see a cage grab from Leon, an eye poke. Use those as well. Yep. So, yeah, I can see it. No wonder it's 1,200 with Leon Edwards.
Right?
Weezy, yes. Weezy, what are you liking for the main event here?
Yeah, Bootsy Collins underdog pick of the week. Colby Covington to win by decision, but Brady got 4-5 decision on FanDuel plus 220. It's plus 200 now, but that's what I got to go with because Colby's a nightmare, and I'm telling you guys, Leon doesn't want to fight this guy. He did everything he could to not fight Colby Covington, not because he was going to talk shit about his dad, not because he puts on a gray wig in a 1776, like battle
George
uniform.
Washington.
it's because he's going to get tortured in the cage, because Colby Covington's pace is ridiculous. And people just don't want to fight this guy. And people hate dominant fighters, whether it's Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington, George St. Pierre, these guys who predict Khabib Nurmagomedov, these guys who can push a pace for the full 15 minutes and just drown their opponents. Leon Scott doesn't do shit. This guy attempts 8 significant strikes per minute at distance. Colby's attempting 18. He's going to be moving forward. He's going to be all the way in or all the way out. And he's going to be all the way in. And I think you guys know what I mean by all the way in Leon Scott here by the 3rd or 4th or 5th round. I think he might even finish this late, but I'm going Colby. I think he gets the job done and he puts it all the way in Leon Scott and new Colby Covington, Donald Trump's favorite fighter, ladies and gentlemen.
There we go. And Luke is letting us know this is 25 minutes, Weezy. So just to let you know, I don't know if you knew that or not.
No, you know what? Thank you so much, Luke. I had no idea that this was a 25-minute fight.
Yeah, it's a title fight, and title fights more often than not are 25 minutes.
Is that all the time, though, Brady? I'm pretty sure most title fights are 15 minutes, right?
Some are 10. I don't know. It all depends. All depends where it's at. If it's in Vegas or in New York or et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
the Ultimate Fighter or what?
Yeah. So, all right, guys, we did it. Now it is, there it is. Okay, loaded. So now it is time for my favorite part of the show. We're going to give our best bet of the entire card. If you hit this best bet, your profit's going to double. So say, for example, Uncle Weezy's best bet is, I don't know. Let's see. His best bet might be Andre Fili by decision. Instead of getting plus 2.4 units, he'll get plus 4.8 units. So I'm going to go through everything, do a quick recap. I'm going to go through these really quickly here. So Weezy's taking Budai Shamil fight doesn't go minus 167. Fili by decision plus 240. Tagir sub 1 plus 950. Jacobe fight won't start round 2. Plus 235, Ariana Lipsky money line, plus 175. Garbrandt fight goes to decision, plus 130. Passing on the Aldana fight, he's taking Emmett money line, plus 205. Passing on the Pimblett fight, he's taking Shavkat KO, plus 290. Pantoja inside the distance, minus 125. And then Covington 4-5 decision, plus 200. Weezy, is all that right? And if so, what is your best bet of the entire card?
Yes, that's all correct. And, just to try to get back out of the cellar here, and like fine wine, I am in the cellar right now, but we're going to go that tier sub 1 as the best bet of the week. Try to get 19 units off of that bitch. We'll see if it happens.
19 units off of Tagir sub 1. I love it. Narco, you had 20 bets this card. Love your strategy on a lot of these. What?
They're all correct. Don't read them all.
They're all correct. Okay, so what is your best bet? You can pick 2. You get 2 best bets, Narco.
Okay, so I'm gonna go Pantoja decision for one of them.
Okay.
And then the other one, I'm gonna go with Shavkat KO.
Shavkat KO plus 290. All right, there you go. 2 best bets for Narco. He is currently sitting in 4th place, but he's not too far behind 3rd place there. So he has a good chance to go out there and maybe sneak into 1st. We'll see how he does. And then Johnny, real quick, you got Gaziev round 1, 460. Fili decision, 240. Tagir sub, 350. Manfield KO, 500. O'Neal KO, 500. Garbrandt KO, 2-3, 500. Passing on the Aldana fight. And passing on the Shavkat fight, you're taking Mitchell sub 2-3, 800, Pimblett KO 370, Pantoja sub 2-3, 460, and then Edwards Yambags plus 1200. Is all that correct? And if so, what is your best bet of the entire card?
That is correct. And just like Weezy, just to get out of the cellar, I'm going to do the Edwards Yambags as my best bet. I'm going to have to hit at least 4 other ones to maybe even come close to 2nd place. So hoping for the best.
So if Edwards cheats and grabs the K, which is very possible. I mean, you get 24
or eye poke.
Yes, 100%.
Or a nut shot. I mean, he kicks a lot. Yeah,
he can do it all. He can do it all. All right, gonna real quickly throw it around here. Weezy, this is it. I think, unless you're doing the Pub Sports Radio live stream, but it's been a fun year. Any final thoughts to end the year for us?
Pub Sports Radio tomorrow for these fights, live stream. I'll be on that. And then, much needed a little bit winter break here, but yeah, good year in 2023. Looking forward to an even better one in 2024. Let's stack cash tickets like flapjacks for the last event of the year, UFC 296. It's been a great year, and let's get another great one going in 2024. Thank you, everybody, for watching, for hitting that thumbs up button, for subscribing to our channels, for supporting our work. Without you guys, none of this is possible for us. So we appreciate you.
100%. And Narco, you still have some content to go. You're going live in about 54 minutes. Let the people know what you got going on.
Yeah, Narco Cop on Twitter, Narco Cop MMA on my YouTube channel, going live 9 p.m. Eastern here for Lambeau Place podcast with my co-host Timothy Troiano. Also have live spaces for each and every card on Saturday on Twitter or X, whatever the hell you want to call it nowadays.
It's still Twitter to me. I know it's weird.
Yeah, happy holidays to everybody. Congrats to Brady on his baby. And yeah, that's about it, man. Been a great year.
It's been a fun year. It's been a fun year. Narco, you've been killing it. Weezy killed it. Johnny, you kill it as well. Let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show for the whole year. This was a great time. Definitely, you can check me out at JohnnyKpicks on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Also have a Patreon as well. Check me out there. I do have a last show of the year, which is going to be Saturday before the fights, 2 hours before our pre-fight show. We're going to have an old guest, if you know him. His name is Patrick from Addicted to Combat. He's going to come on and break down some fights. So definitely check us out right before the fights, 2 hours before, and we'll keep you entertained and kill some time before the fights.
Yeah, shout out to Patrick as well. Patrick and Danny were going to come on tonight. They could not make it, so they're going to send me their bets. I don't think they'll catch up. They need like 60 units, but well, you never know. We'll see, but we'll see who gets it done. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like on your way out, subscribe on your way out, and best of luck for UFC 296. See you later.